Hi, this is Kellen from Wizard Tricks, and we have the Wizards guides with us. And go ahead and let them introduce themselves. But super excited to have them on the show, and I think it's going to be a good one. So,
yep, I am Mike, one half of the Wizards Guide,
and I'm Brittany, the better half of the Wizards Guide.
The better half. All right, we'll let viewers decide that.
Vote. Incorrect answer.
You guys are both great, equally amazing. So one of the things I think we wanted to start off with is a lot of people are really curious about the timeline now that the beta came out, what the timeline for the actual game dropping is, so that the entire world can start playing this game. So I know you guys have a really good insight on that. So I'd love if you guys share some of that with everyone.
Yeah, so we did a video back, I guess it was late.
Forever ago.
Yeah, it was like late summer last year. That kind of timelines a little bit of the Pokemon Go beta and when it released in certain areas and how long it was in certain areas before the game actually released. And it was a pretty actually large span of time for what we looked at. And I think what we saw is Japan actually got that beta first. But what's really interesting about that is they actually weren't the first people to get the full game release because, like the beta, they slowly rolled out the game release as well. And they actually had an almost 4-month beta.
I would be so sad.
Seems
if we had a 4-month beta.
That is a very long beta.
Yeah. It was. I think it was late March-ish when it started in Japan for the beta. Then the game actually came out July 22nd in Japan. But the good news is for us wanting to get into the beta is even with Pokemon Go, they had about 2 weeks sprints where they would have the beta pop up in Japan. Then April 7th, it was in Australia and New Zealand. And then shortly after that, U.S. signups started in May, and by
the end of June,
the U.S. people that got selected from the signups got the beta.
So it's like 2 months total.
Yeah. My question actually with that was, did the signups basically mean you put in your email address? You basically say, I want to know about the game, which we've had in Wizards Unite for quite a while now.
Yeah, and it seems like I don't know if it's different. This seems like it's following for Pokemon Go. It seemed like it was following a more of a closed beta approach.
Sure.
You sign up, you get an invite, you read, you agree to terms and conditions, and then you actually can get the game.
Yeah.
Where what happened with Wizards Unite this week is it seems like it was way more of an open beta where it was just like, hey, New Zealand, you can download it and play it. Yeah.
Well,
so, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I've heard some people call it a soft launch, and that's really what it seems like. It seems less of a beta, more of a soft launch. And there's a lot of stuff in it. I mean, I don't know what, I mean, I didn't do the beta for Pokemon Go, so I don't know how much they included in the beta of Pokemon Go, but you can, from what I've seen, you can buy packages of extra stuff that we're going to go into here in a little bit, but you can buy items. And supposedly gets transferred. What I saw is it gets transferred. Your level and your items will get transferred when the game actually comes out. That's not a beta.
Right.
They're going for it.
Yeah, that really seems like
what we've seen. It looks totally playable.
Yeah, that really seems like it's almost more just like early access. And I know that's kind of the terminology they used on the pre-registration on Google Play is they were actually calling it early access. But I know with the press release that Niantic sent out, it did actually officially call it a beta. So it's kind of been this like weird gray area on what this actually is. But I feel like the Pokemon Go beta, the way that it worked is kind of what you asked earlier, is that there was a sign up and you did get an invite to be able to download it. So
yeah, I think comparing the different beta processes, where they had Ingress, Pokemon Go was such a major release, and I think Wizards Unite's going to be too. It's going to blow up and it's going to be a big deal, but Pokemon Go was a major release in terms of the technology and the platform and the game in terms of a major gaming platform coming to a mobile device like this. I think there's a lot more stuff they need to test. They need to make sure went well, and I think you saw it too with the release when they did the actual release where there were server issues and all that. They were still trying to figure out how to do all this. They've had so much experience now with Pokemon Go that a launch of Wizards Unite, I think, is going to be a lot more straightforward. I think we all hope that it's going to be, we're not going to have those server issues and things like that. But I think that's part of the reason why they may not be doing such a closed, limited release beta, because they have more information. They're just going to roll it out.
I also have a hunch. This isn't any crazy theory that I've found online or anything, but I have a feeling because of that, this beta window may be shorter than what we've seen with Pokemon Go. I feel like they have a lot more stability. They've got like you were saying, they've got a lot to kind of back it up.
And they've expanded so much.
Yeah, right. They really have. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a more frequent rollout to different countries, and that the game may even come out within 6 weeks.
Why did they pick New Zealand?
Yeah, I think ultimately it's a rather small country in general. And I think it's probably a decent place to beta test things, because I mean and I think they've had experience beta testing there, so they just continue to go with it. But I don't really know. But that's my idea. It's a smaller country, but I think the cell towers and all, it's fairly consistent in terms of, or reliable for networks and things like that they can test. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Who do you think may be the next to receive the beta? My initial hunch, and it's just because they were already paired together with the Pokemon Go beta, is Australia. They're right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they paired it with New Zealand for Pokemon Go. I feel like they may be, testing it out in New Zealand before they're like, oh, next week, boom, Australia, the whole continent of Australia now.
The whole continent.
Also, I think especially testing it in an English-speaking country, part maybe why as well. And you can't really beta test, and I know they're actually, from what I understand, they're actually be doing some beta testing in the UK. But in the UK, all you have to do is hop on a train for the most part. You could get somewhere if you really wanted to. Yeah. If you want to go to it's a little hard to get to New Zealand. There's not exactly many ways to arrive there. So
that's true.
I thought it was hilarious when they announced it. Almost immediately, I saw some WooTubers screenshotting airfare to New Zealand and trying to plan out a way to get down to New Zealand, and then they're just like, I can't.
I've always wanted to go to New Zealand.
Perfect
this
example.
This could be the week to do it.
Perfect reason to go.
Yeah, definitely. It's expensive. I mean, I've tried to go to Australia. I want to go to both New Zealand and Australia, but to get a flight there is so expensive. It's one of the most expensive places to fly. So
I'm so cheap. I won't even fly to Florida. Yep. I'm definitely not buying the tickets to New Zealand.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes sense that they're doing it there, but hopefully, like you said, the beta won't take a long time. But I'm really interested. You created a great list for all the different things in Pokemon Go and some of the things that we've seen in the beta that are items or places or things that are comparable. And I'd like to go through that list because I think there's a lot of really interesting things that I think a lot of people are interested in what is actually in the game. And then I think it's a good way to compare it so people understand, okay, this is what this is going to be like. Kind of like the lure. Like, what's the lure going to be? Well, it's a dark detector now. So I think going through that list would be awesome. I think some of the first things would be the fortress, which I don't think a lot of people know about yet. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about the fortress at all, but I think it's an interesting one to start with.
You want to talk about the fortress? That you've made comments before that's like one of your least favorite features?
I'm not a fighter. I don't know. I just don't. I don't
a collector.
care. Well, and I'm like super antisocial isn't the word, and neither is introvert. I don't know. I just have social anxiety, so I hate doing raids because I'm like, we have to talk to people. They're like, I cannot handle this.
We'll have like the quick combo. We'll nod at each other and be like, "Oh yeah, instinct, cool, all right." And then
cool. We'll stand over here.
But yeah, but anyway,
go in the car now. Go.
Yeah, exactly.
We're good. Yeah.
We reached the raid. All right, let's get in the car and hide. Yeah. So,
oh man, introvert problems.
Yeah.
So bad.
And yet we make YouTube videos. That makes sense. Fortresses, they, from what we've seen and what we've read about through some of the other information they released back in March, it is going to be very similar to how the raid system works in Pokemon Go. You go and you find a team of up to 5 people, including yourself, and you go through different levels of this fortress. And when I first started, I think on the map, you see the fortress as like a giant castle type thing. And when you first kind of see that, you want to instantly compare it to like a Poke Gym or a gym. And it's similar because that's where the raids are in Pokemon Go, but it's looking at it at a different perspective because there is no teams. So it's not actually, there's not a second element to that landmark. It's just a raid, and it's constantly a raid, which is pretty cool.
Just cooperative.
Yes. So it's not team based. It's not a point to take for your team. It is strictly a raid that you can go in and cooperatively go in and take it down and get some awesome loot while you're doing that.
I like that there are levels to unlock instead of it just being like all there where you can hammer through it really fast.
Yeah.
I like that it takes some time.
And some of the videos too, just to build on that just a little bit, some of the videos that we were kind of looking at is as you're going through and selecting the different levels, if you're teamed up with somebody, we were kind of asking each other, like, what would happen if Brittany has reached level 4 at this fortress, but I'm still on level 1, would she have to help me go through and like go 1, 2, 3, and then help her on 4? And it reminded me, and I compare this all the time, but it reminded me of aspects of World of Warcraft. If you have a lower level friend, you go through and help them run instances to get them leveled up. So
absolutely, I do. To add on that, but I think you guys said it all, is the fact that I like the different levels, and there's going to be, it's not going to just be tapping and finding a gym. I think this is going to be really a successful part about Wizards Unite is the fact that there's a little bit more to it. It's not just tapping your phone as a group. Like, there's a little bit more of a strategy behind it, and I think that's going to be something that wins for Wizards Unite compared to Pokemon Go. So I'm really excited about that because I think they're going to do a really good job. The next thing is the different encounters. So obviously you have Pokemon encounters in Pokemon Go, but now you're going to have these confoundable encounters, which is basically encountering a variety of different things in the game, from trolls or dark wizards or dementors or whatever it is. There's a ton of things actually in the game that you can can pop in. I think that will be interesting how that works, but you basically have to use a spell against them in order to defeat them, or depending on the encounter, because there's actually a lot of different encounters.
Right.
They're not just like all bad encounters.
Right. Yeah, and I think it took me actually like seeing the gameplay to realize that the confoundables are comparable to Pokemon encounters. I don't know why it didn't like click with me until I saw it actually in action. I'm like, oh, they're spawning on the map. You click on them, you start the encounter, and then the spell, the where you trace the spell pops up. And watching people trace those spells, and it's showing them like, great or good, you're doing great, tracing that reminded me of throwing the Pokeballs at the distance to hit the Pokemon and hitting them with the great throw and all that. It was kind of surprising that like that didn't click until I saw it in action. Like, oh, this is like catching a Pokemon.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was a little confused on how they were gonna do encounters because it's like Pokemon is so straightforward. I mean, there's Pokemon, you catch them.
Right,
But
right.
with Wizards Unite, there's not necessarily something like that in Harry Potter. So having all these different types of encounters, I think is going to be really cool. And the fact that there's a depth, I think, to Wizards Unite that we're starting to see that's not in Pokemon Go. Like
Right.
you can't just like a lot of people can catch Pokemon without even paying attention. I just like spin head about.
Yeah.
You know?
Except
like,
me, I still can't throw like a decent curveball to save my life.
Every time she gets Quest to throw like a great throw like 3 times in a row, she's just like, Mike, help.
yeah. Totally. I have a friend who just he will not do a curveball. I'm like, come on, man. It's like it's not that hard, but whatever.
Mine looks really stupid. I like zigzag across the screen, and Mike's like that. I've never seen anybody else throw a curveball like that.
Yep.
Like it's the only way I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very easy though to just like you could just be walking through a park in a conversation with somebody and just being, catching a Pokemon or battling a raid.
Yeah. This one's gonna be a little harder.
Yeah, I mean, with all the different spells, and I think a lot of people, they don't want just the same spell. And from what we've seen, there's not just one spell. There's a lot of different stuff going on. So you have to know that spell. You have to look at your phone, figure out what the spell is, and then trace it correctly. So it's not just the same motion over and over again, which I think people will like. But at the same time, for those who want to grind and really want to level up really fast, it's not going to be as easy as they found it in Pokemon Go. Some people are going to have a little bit of a challenge with that, I think. So
I like that better.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that better too. And then obviously berries and potions. So I don't know if you guys want to take that one to say a little bit about what the difference between those two are.
Yeah, so I think initially when I made the list, I just kind of grouped all potions into equaling berries, and I think as I looked a little bit further, it didn't look like that's the case, but it looked like there are some potions that you can pop while you're trying to take out a confoundable.
That makes it easier.
Right. It makes.
I remember watching it, and we were like, "Oh, that's a raspberry."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier, or it allows for more mistakes, I guess, when you're tracing your spell.
That's for people like me.
Exactly. Yes, that is your potion. It was perfect. And then I think there may have been one, I'd have to go back and look, but I think there was one that actually slowed down the timer at the top, because every time you're tracing a spell, it kind of times you on how fast you trace it.
Yeah.
And that helps determine if it's a great or a good or an excellent trace.
Yeah, it seems like there's going to be a lot of different potions actually, and I think kind of potions are actually, I think potions too. They're both kind of like berries in Pokemon Go, but they're also potions to increase energy from I think what I've seen. So it's kind of a little bit of
it's like a mix of berries and actual potions. Because there's, of course, there's healing potions and things too. So
and then the store. There's a registry actually. Let's talk about the registry, because
that's the best part.
That's a big question mark that I've had for a long time. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, there's these encounters, but like once you do it once, like what's the So the registry, I think, is an interesting component.
You want to talk about the registry since?
Well, okay. So here's the thing: like 90s kids will appreciate this. Well, girls, we all had our Lisa Frank sticker book that like we carried to like 5th grade with us, and like who had the most stickers. And when I saw this registry, like way back when, like the stuff first came out in like the blogs and stuff where the testers had seen it, I was like, dude, we're getting a Lisa Frank sticker book. Like, we're getting a Harry Potter Lisa Frank sticker book.
It actually looks like a sticker book, though.
It does. Like, I'm so excited about this stupid sticker book, man.
Yep. But when I first saw it, I just kind of, again, this is in the post from March. I was just kind of staring at it going, what is that? Like, how is that going to work in the gameplay? And of course, the more you looked at it and actually seeing it in the beta, it definitely is comparable to the Pokédex. So the more more foundables you find out there while you're playing, and you return them back to their timeline and all that good stuff. It actually tracks that, so you can keep track of all the awesome things you've done in the game. And I think this is true because I think I saw somebody do this. Once you like unlock the Hagrid sticker in your registry, you can then go into that registry and click on Hagrid and actually take like AR photos of him. So then you can use the.
So he can like chill with me.
Exactly.
So my sticker book just like seriously went up a few notches.
That's right. Yeah.
I still have my 90s sticker books. They're in the closet upstairs.
Nice.
That's great.
I'm so proud of them.
It is cool though how they're going to do that technology, but they are in terms of bringing that character to life. I think that's really cool. And the type of encounters, there's a lot, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun with the encounters. And I like that they do them this way because people are going to want to unlock them and like bring Harry Potter to like their life. And I think this is a great way to do it. I think they've done good in Pokemon Go. This is a different spin on it, and I think people are going to enjoy that by being able to like literally take pictures with Hagrid. I mean, that's cool.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So
Super awesome.
yeah.
One of the other things that actually Brittany found while we were watching some of these videos that I didn't even think about. I think during the blog posts and the releases from the sites that played the game last month, they were talking like pretty constantly about energy, spell energy. And I kind of just view energy, when I hear the word energy in a mobile game, I get very nervous.
Well, especially at the Hogwarts Mysteries.
Yes.
If anyone's played Hogwarts Mysteries, energy is like the worst word there is.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
when I heard the term energy, I was just like, oh no, like please don't have some sort of.
It even had the lightning bolt, just like Hogwarts Mystery, and I was like, oh, we're in trouble, man.
But the more I saw the individuals playing the beta, it really became clear that the spell energy is exactly what Pokeballs are in Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
You need the Pokeballs to be able to, interact and catch those Pokemon. You need the spell energy to be able to cast the spells in every encounter.
Is that in the shop? Have y'all seen that in the shop?
Yep, they are in the shop.
Yeah.
And you get them for spinning the ends as well. So.
Yeah. And that's I think a really good segue actually to the ends, which we haven't really talked about yet. But that's what you have to press. I don't know if you spin. I haven't seen someone access it. I don't know if you spin it or you just tap. Or do you spin it?
Yeah. So what we saw.
I only saw the video. I didn't I saw their screen.
Yeah. So
I don't know what they're doing with their finger.
They're actually casting Accio.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool. So they tap the in on their map, and it actually brings them to. It almost looks like a restaurant table or something with covered dinner dishes, where you go through and you cast Accio, and it kind of randomizes those dinner dishes, and then reveals what items you get out of that dinner dish, and that's where we saw like. The energy being replenished for the characters. That's where we saw some potion ingredients and things coming out of it. But so you click on it, it brings you to a table. You cast Accio, and then it gives you some items, which is really cool.
That is cool. And then it's purple for Pokestops. It's smoke coming from the inn for Wizards Unite, which I think is kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of cute. I mean, I think it's really cool. I think it's I thought that was super cool. I'm in agreement, man. Precious. It's cute. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, it's like, that's a nice little feature that
y'all are just so manly.
That's right.
And then so the store we talked about it a little bit, but Diagon Alley versus the store.
Yeah, I don't think
I saw that.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to you too much about it. I was looking at some screenshots right before this. And I saw it in some of the other videos and things too, but the store is pretty much Diagon Alley, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet
for them to be able to name it that. I'm trying to pull up the screenshots. It's where they have different names for each section of the store, where like you can purchase more coins from the store.
Oh, and that's like Gringotts.
Gringotts.
Okay, yeah.
And I can't remember the other names, and I'm going to kill myself for that. But it was, you know,
that is intense. You don't have to do
sorry,
that.
I'll beat myself up for that. I'll take it down. But there are names of stores that you would see in
like
Diagon Alley.
Ollivanders and stuff.
Did not see Ollivanders. I'm actually going to look it up here.
Madame Malkin.
Well, they are going to have things like bundles, so where they have special like time frames where you can buy a bundle of different items. It's similar for Wizards Unite. They're going to have bundles, which I think makes sense because that part of it's all the business part of it, and they make a lot of money when they do the bundles. People just go crazy and buy $100 worth of poker coins so they can buy all their bundles with the stuff. So that's going to be something. Like the screenshot I saw is the anti-calamity kit, which is
that's great.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a kit that we can buy so we can be better SOS members.
That will be date nights coming up, Abe.
We're so cool.
We've spent many a date nights buying little gift boxes Pokemon boxes from the store. That's going to transfer over to Wizards Unite soon.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You're so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's, again, like I said, it's the business aspect of this game, and I think it's fair to be aware of, and I think obviously a lot of people enjoy it and they don't mind it. I mean, that's kind of that's why Niantic is now a $1 billion company. By the way, on a business note, Niantic was, I believe, the 4th fastest company to reach $1 billion in the App Store.
That's so cool.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So Clash of Clans was, I think, #1 for fun fact for everyone who wants to know that.
Doesn't surprise me.
Our teenager plays that a lot. Like, we hear it a lot.
Yeah. So port keys. This is kind of, well, one, what they're doing with port keys, I think, is so cool.
Yes.
First off, so I don't think they even it's so much greater than what an egg is, but by all means, kind of launch into that, because I think probably one of my favorite parts of the game is the port key.
Yeah. You want to take that one?
No, because I don't know what y'all are talking about.
The port key, the portmanteau.
I mean, I know what a port key is, but I don't think I watched this.
Gotcha.
You've seen a lot more of the video footage than I have.
So the port keys.
I had to, do laundry and feed the children and make sure the house didn't fall apart while you were freaking out over the beta.
So from what I've seen, the port keys are gonna kind of be comparable to eggs. So you want to walk your port keys just like you would walk your eggs. And what you do with those, or how you walk those, is through a thing called a portmanteau. I don't know how to spell it, but I know how to say it thanks to Snitches and Witches. Zoe put a video up. I think it was no, it was Lynette. Sorry, Lynette. I'm giving you credit where it's due. She put up a video that pretty much said, this is how you say this. It's portmanteaus. And you put your port key inside of that. You walk it. And it looks like it's the same amount of kilometers as Pokemon Go. You have 2K, 5K, and 10K eggs, and you walk them, and then they hatch, quote unquote hatch. Yeah. For you to
in a much better way. They have a much cooler way.
Yes. So it actually opens up a port key, a portal to several different.
That's cool.
Yeah, several different hotspots.
Awesome.
I'm learning so much on this live.
Welcome to the live stream.
I feel like I'm really just watching. Really, that's so cool.
You have the best seat in the house.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah, but so they basically open up to different places, and it's really cool because the images that I've seen are with an AR feature, which Pokemon Go does not do with eggs. That's not part of eggs. But you literally can do an AR scene of the port key and basically go through the port key. It doesn't quite work the same way as port keys in the movies, so I want to make sure everyone understands that. And in the books too, it typically has a port key. You touch it, and then you spin, and you go somewhere else. This basically opens up a portal that you can walk through. So that's
from
all
what I understand.
For all the canon nuts.
Yes. I have not seen it in action yet, but from what I understand, you actually, you open it up and you actually physically walk with your phone into the port key, and it almost becomes more like VR than AR, where you can actually like look around with your phone and see this
That's so cool.
this key hotspot like
Come
Dumbledore's
to the
office.
US.
Yeah. Well, new technology that they've added to Pokemon Go, now that you can do the camera, the snapshot mode with Pokemon Go. So to kind of give an idea of how that works to people, in Pokemon Go, if you take a picture with someone, you can now walk around the Pokemon. It stays there. You can do a full 360 around the Pokemon, and it basically stays in its location. And that's basically what you're describing is the room is set, and now that it has the orientation point, you can then rotate, and the room stays the same, but your view of it changes, which is very VR-like. But yeah,
I'm super excited to try that feature out. It's going to be so cool to venture into Hogwarts areas like that.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about runestones.
Yes. So the closest comparison that I could see with runestones for Pokemon Go, because you need one from what it looks like in a fortress battle, you need a runestone to be able to start the fortress battle. And you actually go through and there's several of them that I haven't really been able to look too far into at the moment, but it's
like a raid pass.
It's essentially like a raid pass, right?
Okay.
Yep. And so there's, as you were saying, Kellen, the different encounters for the confoundables. I think there's 12 of them or something like that. There's a rune stone for each one of those types of encounters, and you get those throughout the game, and you can use that type of rune stone to enter the fortress. And if you use a certain type of rune stone to enter the fortress, you get like items and loot that relate to that type of rune stone. So it's a raid pass, but there's also like several layers deeper than just like something you need to enter. It actually helps you gain specific items and specific loot by selecting certain rune stones.
Yeah, and based on that, I'm curious, because raid passes are what Niantic makes the most money on from Pokemon Go. So I'm curious how they're going to structure it. What's the limitations going to be on it? Because I can't imagine that it's just going to be a free for all.
Right.
So there's got to be some kind of limit, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen anything that really describes that in the beta. So
yeah, that's something to look for though, because you're right. That's a big money generator for Niantic is the raid passes. So how limited are these runestones going to be? From what I've seen, there were the few videos I watched, there was the person playing the game had several runestones to choose from. So don't know what that means.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So one thing I think they should have called it something different. But the vault and the backpack comparison, I think it should have been like Hermione's purse that they just like pulled all types of stuff out of. That would have been cool. Yeah. The vault's fun too.
Or nude suitcase.
Yes, that would have been awesome too. Yeah.
I did notice that the I guess this is another comparison that I didn't write down. The Pokeball on your screen as you're walking around is in Wizards Unite is related to a suitcase, which looks like Newt's suitcase, and you open it up and it kind of gives you the menu options just like you do when you hit the Pokeball. So maybe that's reserved for Newt's suitcase, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen anything about Fantastic Beasts all that much besides for Grindelwald. I haven't seen a ton.
Oh, you're going to make Mike cry.
I haven't seen a ton. There's a list that I saw recently on all the different types of encounters, which actually I'm going to kind of plan out and make a separate video on. Yeah. But I'm a little surprised at my initial look at the list. I didn't see a ton. I could have missed it, but I didn't see a ton of Fantastic Beasts.
I'm very sad. Very sad, Kellen. I'm definitely going to choose the Magizoologist role. And I was very hopeful that Newt was going to be kind of the leader of the representation for that role.
Yeah.
I love Hagrid to death. I love him to death. He's a great character, but Newt, man, he's my man. I love Newt. And I was really hoping that they would see kind of what you're saying, is that if they include one of the leaders from the Fantastic, have him be from the Fantastic Beasts series, that it's a good tie-in to that series as well. But Hagrid's still cool. I like Hagrid, but really.
Yeah, one thing that they could be doing, and this would make a lot of sense, is leaving more for updates. Because they put a lot in, I think they have a lot in this game already in comparison to what Pokemon Go had when it first started. Totally different on a whole nother level in terms of release. And with Pokemon Go, there were very natural progressions. So I don't know how much we should go into it in this particular video, but I don't know what they're going to do. And maybe it's Fantastic Beasts. I don't know. Maybe that's how they expand. Maybe that's how they do major updates.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, they have stated they want this game to go on for years. So leaving some of the major, franchises to, especially Fantastic Beasts, to be an option to tap into for that would be great. Yeah.
I think potentially. We see where it's different. And I know this is a little off topic to what we've been talking about, but the movie that's coming out for the Pikachu Detective. There's always been Pokemon movies, but this one is a massive mainstream movie, and it's really thanks to Pokemon Go, and it really ties into Pokemon Go. It's like a Pokemon Go movie. It's not, but it really is. And there could be things that we see with the Harry Potter universe where Wizards Unite could have an effect on future movie titles.
Yes, please.
That's so cool.
Yes, I'm stoked for Detective Pikachu. Actually, just a side note on top of that, I actually heard that if it's pretty successful, that they're thinking about making a Pokemon universe of movies similar to like the Marvel universe.
That's crazy.
Good. They should.
Yes.
They should. I would like that.
Yes.
I would definitely like that. All right, so TMs and scrolls, which I don't actually know. I haven't really seen much about this either, so I'm actually really curious what you have to say. But I have an idea just because of what it sounds like, but I'm not sure how it's going to work, especially since the encounters prop up. They come up with the spell you have to trace. So, how is that going to work?
Yeah, so I guess the comparison there that I saw, so I read just a little snippet on the scrolls, and it looks like you need the scrolls to be able to go through your skill tree. Not necessarily to learn new spells, but you need it to learn your skill tree nodes to go through. So it looked like you needed to kind of accrue or build up an amount of scrolls to be able to go through and learn your new abilities through the skill tree. So
sure. Interesting. I think I would be curious to see once it comes out and really what I like to see some screenshots of that and maybe some action of how you interact with that. That would be interesting. It makes sense for the game. I'm struggling with envisioning how it would work. So,
well, it also brings up the thought on if that's needed for the skill tree, are there other points associated? Because we theorized when we saw the skill tree that you'll get like skill points as you level up that you then invest into your skill tree. Is that the scroll, or is there another type of currency that kind of lets you go through and pick up those nodes in your skill tree?
Yeah, definitely something I'm interested in learning a little bit more about, because like I said, not as certain about that one, in all honesty. So challenges. So we have major villains, of course, but then like what does that basically mean? Legendary raids, and like what's the frequency of that going to be? Especially since because raids, like we talked about earlier, raids are a level, like there's different levels and there's different things you have to do to get to that point. So what is a legendary or like a major villain raid look like? And how is that going to work? I don't know, because it's so different than what they're kind of structuring raids. It's like they're structuring raids very differently with the towers, but now we have something that seems very similar to what a standard raid or raid boss would look like.
Yeah, so I remember hearing something about this, like, larger villain battle that multiple people could help take down, and you team up and do, just like a legendary raid would be in Pokemon Go. And I actually forgot that I'd read about that like last month. I think it was in the news. But anyway, as I was flipping through the screenshots of the registry, I found, and I was looking through the challenges section, and it's all just like posters, kind of like Azkaban-ish posters of like the major villains in the Harry Potter verse. And that kind of sparked my memory. It's like, oh, I think I remember them talking about there would be actual encounters with these larger boss type battles with these villains. How that looks in Wizards Unite, though, I cannot even think about how, where on the map that would be. Would that be in a fortress?
I thought they were at the end of the fortress, like,
maybe,
because we're working through the levels. That was like the last.
Yeah, that's actually
like the big boss.
I like that.
That could actually work, because I think I saw.
That's how it was in the Ninja Turtle arcade game.
Oh yes.
That's like what. That's how I see the fortresses in my head. Is the Ninja Turtle like arcade game?
I'm totally down to be Michelangelo in this thought that you just had. Let's do this. Right now.
I knew you would like that.
Yes.
I know you so well.
Yeah, that actually makes sense though, because you have to be a certain level to reach certain aspects of the stages in the fortress. From what we've seen, the last level could be that last challenge where you fight Bellatrix, something like that.
Shredder
or Krang.
That will definitely be interesting. I think I think we pretty much covered the list. Oh, we didn't talk about the dark detectors, which is basically the lures. So in the game, you're basically gonna have dark detectors, which is basically gonna have more encounters. You'll have more encounters pop up. The one point I will make on that, I'd be interested in what you guys think, is from what I've seen in terms of encounters, not all encounters are dark. Some encounters are
Whoa, that was
creepy.
Perfect timing. Oh, and now it just came light. That was great.
I have really fancy lights. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I think you timed that perfectly.
Super cool. You should have gone with like my house is haunted.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
So I totally lost my train of thought. What are we talking about?
Not all encounters are dark.
Yeah, not all encounters are dark, or at least that's what it seems like. But then the name Dark Encounter, like the name Dark Detector, basically makes it seem like there's some sort of dark character that's going to pop up. But and lures pop up all Pokemon, so I don't know.
I think that it may be, there's different encounters with different foundables, but most of the encounters, I think, they're going to involve a confoundable that's like restricting them from leaving that area, or it's attacking them. One of the encounters, I think, was with a Niffler, but in that encounter, there's little goblins or trolls. I think it's goblins.
It was goblin.
Goblins chasing them down, and they actually start like tickling him, and like he's popping coins out everywhere. It's pretty cool, but I think it's just associated with the type, or with all encounters. I would assume there's going to be a dark
element
confoundable that's restricting that. But one other thing with that is, from what we saw, you can actually put multiple dark detectors on an inn. So
yeah, that's
it's not
cool.
Just,
we can to like a certain level. Wasn't it? It was like 3 or 5. So you can stack them.
Yeah, and I think what it does is the more you put on it, the like higher threat level of an encounter will pop up.
Right. So it's not just more encounters.
Right.
Got it. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Also, really smart business wise.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then our whole family will use ours up instead of being like, it's your turn.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just all put them on. It's like, just go for it.
Basically, we're gonna be broke when this game
We're gonna
out.
be so broke.
And I have to buy a new phone before it comes out too. So
we're buying new phones. We're gonna be spending all kinds of money on date night bundles. Like, yeah.
Some girls need like real expensive dates, babe. You cannot complain. I'm like, get me a $20 Pokemon box and like, let's call it a night.
I'm very lucky for sure.
That is good.
I don't need jewelry. I need Pokemon balls.
That's great. I love that. That's really awesome. So I think now we've gone through the list. Yeah, unless I've missed anything, please bring it up. But one thing I've noticed from the screenshots I've seen is the character is basically just a hooded or cloaked individual, which I think is really interesting. And I don't know if that's like a feature of the beta that they're just kind of leaving out for now. I can't imagine that every character is going to be a cloaked figure, but I think it's a big question mark that it looks like they're putting there, because in Pokemon Go, it's super customizable. In fact, they've made it a financially benefiting thing for Niantic as a company, where you can buy clothes with coins and things like that. But I think it's important for them to include. So this is one thing in the beta that I've seen that's probably my biggest disagreement with, is you need to make it more personal for an individual. People want it to be personal. I think that's one of the great things about Pokemon Go, where it's not a major aspect of the game, but you can be an individual in the game. Like, you can make it a character of yourself, and that's important, I think, to get connection with the player, is to be able to create that. I mean, you've seen that technique in a lot of games, and it's very successful in a lot of different types of games. So I'd be surprised if they leave that out, but like I said, it's cloaked figures right now.
Right. I think it also leads to more money as well, because you want to buy, a Hufflepuff scarf to put on your character or something like that. But I definitely think that I think that's part of the beta, at least I hope it is, that they are just holding back on that before the game release. Mm-hmm. There's a statement even in the beta announcement, I think, that says, like, please note that not all graphical features are up and functional. I think one of the other parts of that too is inside your character's like ID card. There looks to be a little portrait area that would be like your character's face or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like a gray spot right now.
Right. So I think it's just beta, I hope, and I'm sure that Niantic is going to want some money, so they're gonna make it personable, I bet.
I hope so. Yeah. That was like my favorite part of Warcraft. I didn't really want to play. I just wanted to make characters.
Create your character.
Yeah, it's super popular in, like I said, a lot of games. It's a very cool. I mean, I forget the name of the company, but there was a whole like industry that came out. Man, I forget it, but it was especially like when the internet was starting to boom back in the early, like probably like the mid 90s or like early 2000s or whatever it was, early 2000s maybe. There was a whole like, I don't know if it wasn't really a game, it was like Social Life or something like that, where literally people would design clothing for the characters in the game, and you could literally buy stuff from other people. Like, it was like a whole economy inside this game.
No, I remember hearing about it. I think it's called Second Life.
Okay, Second Life.
Yeah. And it's just a virtual, like.
I would have played that. I didn't know if that was a thing.
Yeah. There's no, from what I remember hearing about it, I think there's no like real purpose of the game. It was just like life. You kind of work and
you have your second life, I guess. You know, it's like you literally have your second life, and it was crazy because you could. I don't know how it worked exactly because I never played it, but there were people who could literally design specific clothing, and you could literally buy them from them. And like Second Life would take like a cut, like a percentage of all transactions, but you could literally buy things in the virtual world from other people. Like it's crazy. It was really actually wild. Very interesting. So yeah. But I don't know really how we got on that besides for clothing. That was
creating characters.
Yeah, creating characters. Yeah. But they didn't actually start to have a monetary component until fairly significantly into the game. I don't remember you being able to buy things originally.
Right.
So yeah, but I definitely, like I said, I hope they put that in there. But I think that's our whole list. So I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to share, but that was a pretty awesome session. I think really actually covers a lot to do with the beta. I mean, it's a really good overview, actually. I mean, I know we were doing comparison, but that ended up being just a really great overview of what the beta is going to be like, or what the beta is like, and what the game's going to be like.
I just want to say that I opened my Pokemon Go up today as I was walking by my work, and I was excited because it's Pokemon. Like, yes, this is great. It's going to be fun. And I just almost immediately got depressed because it's not Wizards Unite, and I'm seeing all these people play Wizards Unite in New Zealand, and I cannot wait to play this game. It's so close. It's so close, but yet so far away in New Zealand.
It's just a plane ride away.
That's right.
Yeah,
like a
really
bajillion dollars.
Yeah, exactly. A really expensive plane ride, but definitely send video if you go.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. I hope everyone really enjoyed this as much as I did. That was an awesome time, and I loved going through that list. That was awesome. So thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for hosting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, bye.